Last month, I made a video taking a look at the starting 11 for Lionel Messi's last game for Barcelona B in 2005, and where those players are now. In truth, it was less of a where those players are now, and more of a broad overview of their careers in their entirety to see how they had panned out, since all 11 were either retired or on the verge of retirement. Well, today I'm repeating the trick, but with Cristiano Ronaldo, because if you don't balance it out with Messi and Ronaldo, you will end up with the superfans of one of them coming after you with pitchforks and torches. Ronaldo's last competitive fixture for Sporting Clube de Portugal came in the final game of the 2002-03 Portuguese Primeira Liga campaign, in which Sporting lost 2-0 to the already crowned champions of Porto, who were under the guidance of a certain charismatic young boss named Jose Mourinho. So today, I'm going to take a look back at that Sporting 11 and see what each player went on to achieve. Did any of them achieve more than Cristiano Ronaldo? I should think it's unlikely. Spoiler alert, he is the only 5-time Ballon d'Or winner in this 11. Anyhow, enough of my silliness. Let's get going. Here is the starting 11 from Cristiano Ronaldo's final game for Sporting Clube de Portugal before signing for Manchester United in 2003, and both where those players are now and how their careers panned out. Nelson, Sporting Clube de Portugal director. A retired goalkeeper that might not be too familiar with many viewers who aren't Portuguese, Nelson Alexander Gomes Pereira, better known simply as Nelson, spent much of his career operating as a number 2, particularly at Sporting. During a whopping 9 years with the Lisbon Giants, Nelson registered just 66 league appearances, but one of those 66 was in Cristiano Ronaldo's final competitive game. Nelson left Sporting in 2006 to join Vitória, then Estrela Amadora, and lastly Belenenses, where he retired in 2010, aged 34. More than a decade on, Nelson now works as a director for his former club, a job he took last summer following more than 8 years working as the club's goalkeeping coach. Facundo Queiroga, deceased military leader. A famous Argentine military man renowned for his charisma, Facundo Queiroga was one of the figureheads of Argentina's federalist movement during the early 1800s, before being shot through his left eye in battle in 1835, while still in his 40s. Hang on, I'm starting to think I might have got the wrong Facundo Queiroga here. Yeah, no, it looks like I have. This one never actually played for Sporting Clube de Portugal or alongside Ronaldo, which makes sense, given that he was shot 167 years before Ronaldo made his debut. Okay, we'll go again. Facundo Queiroga, out-of-work coach. Much less interesting than his deceased namesake, I'm sorry to inform you that former Sporting centre-back Facundo Queiroga is just an unemployed coach. Capped 16 times by Argentina between 2002 and 2004, Queiroga was also a fierce competitor, like his compatriot, just on a football pitch rather than on the battlefield. Signed by Sporting from Newell's Old Boys as a 20-year-old, Queiroga went on to spend 6 seasons in Portugal, though one of those was spent on loan at Napoli. Stints at Wolfsburg, River Plate, Hurricane and All Boys followed before the 43-year-old retired in 2013. And following 2 years coaching the reserve team at Newell's, Queiroga and Newell's parted company on New Year's Eve just gone. Hugo, Braga director. Braga born and raised, Hugo Miguel Fernandes Vieira came through the youth ranks at his boyhood club, and he is now back there, employed as a director. Hugo only actually played 15 games for Braga, joining Sampdoria as a youngster and spending 3 seasons in Italian football, where he tasted Serie A relegation. Sporting brought him back to Portugal at the turn of the millennium, where he spent 6 seasons operating primarily as a rotation option. The former Portuguese under-18 international retired with Beira-Mar in 2013, and following 4 years as Braga's head of youth development, he took a job as a director in 2019. Pablo Contreras, Rodelindo Roman director of football. Our second successive Sporting defender turned club director, Pablo Contreras won 67 caps for Chile and was part of the team's infamous 2007 Copa America collapse. Born in Santiago and a graduate of the Colo-Colo youth ranks, Contreras played for a handful of European clubs, most notably Celta Vigo and Pauca. He was only ever on loan at Sporting, meaning this was also his final game for the club, and Contreras went on to enjoy spells with Braga, Olympiacos, and back at Colo-Colo. He retired in 2014, aged 35, following a season at Melbourne Victory, and for the last 3 years he has been employed as a director of football at Chilean Segunda Division side Rodelindo Roman. Beto, retired. One of 2 players in this squad, commonly referred to as Beto, Roberto Severo spent 7 seasons as a Portuguese international. A bona fide sporting legend, Beto was born in Lisbon, he joined Sporting at the age of 12 and he didn't depart until the age of 30. During that time, he won 5 trophies and played more than 300 games for the club, putting him among Sporting's top 20 all-time appearance holders. Following his departure from Lisbon, Beto had brief stints with Bordeaux, Recreativo, Belenenses and Alzira before retiring in 2011, aged 35. A decade on, Beto doesn't seem to have been involved in football for the last 8 years, having resigned as Sporting's Public Relations Director in 2013. João Paulo, Castrense. The first inclusion in this 11 who is actually still playing, it's just a shame we don't have any images of João Paulo Andrade playing for his current club, Castrense. That's probably because Castrense compete in Portugal's 4th tier, and I don't think the Getty images send too many photographers to Portuguese 4th tier games. Disgracefully so, in my humble opinion. Anyhow, João Paulo only ever actually played 7 games for Sporting, whilst on loan at the club in 2003, later signing for their rivals Porto in 2006. He later became a bit of a nomad, whilst also going from centre-back to playing as a centre-forward. Competing in Portugal's lower leagues now, aged 39, Paulo proves he spent a number of seasons in Cyprus with Ammonia, Apollon Limassol and AEL Limassol. Rodrigo Teo, retired. A teammate of Pablo Contreras' at both club and international level, Rodrigo Teo won 36 caps for Chile and spent 6 years at Sporting Clube de Portugal. Renowned for his versatility, Teo started out as a left winger, but he was often deployed in central midfield, as a left back or as a wing back. Following roughly 150 games at Sporting, Teo departed for Besiktas, and he spent the next 8 years playing for a variety of Turkish clubs, before returning to Chile, aged 36, where he retired. To the best of my knowledge, which, as you all know, is usually immaculate, Teo hasn't worked in football in the 5 years since. Paulo Bento, South Korea manager. A close friend of Cristiano Ronaldo's, I believe still to this day, and one of his earliest mentors, there was at one time a rumour that Paulo Bento might join Manchester United in 2008 as Alex Ferguson's assistant, in a sort of bid to keep the Ballon d'Or winner at the club. Bento quickly rubbished those reports, with the former holding midfielder managing Sporting's first team at the time. An intelligent and hard-working holding midfielder, Bento spent most of his best years with Vitória, Benfica and Oviedo, before joining Sporting as a veteran. He retired from playing football in 2004 to go into coaching, and he took the reins as South Korea boss with a contract running until the 2022 World Cup in 2018. Ricardo Quaresma, Vitória. Perhaps the biggest name in this 11, other than Cristiano Ronaldo of course, at least among UK viewers, Ricardo Quaresma is one of world football's great enigmas from the last couple of decades. A couple of years older than Ronaldo, there were a number of people at Sporting who felt Quaresma was actually the superior talent. And technically speaking, they might have been right. But where Ronaldo has given his life to football with quite an extreme sense of dedication, Quaresma has been rather more temperamental. An absolute joy to watch at his best, Quaresma may not have become a serial Ballon d'Or winner, but he has still had a fantastic career. A Champions League and European Championship winner who has won league titles at 4 different clubs in 3 different countries, Quaresma's role in Portugal's Euro 2016 success ought not to be underplayed. What's more, unlike a number of mercurial talents, Quaresma is still enjoying fine form in a competitive top flight well into his late 30s, currently starring for Vitória, aged 37. João Pinto, retired. Another big name, João Pinto, was one of the brightest lights among Portugal's golden generation of the 1990s and early 2000s. Capable of playing as either a withdrawn forward or as more of a number 10, Pinto was bright, inventive, and brilliant on the ball. What's more, despite his diminutive stature, he possessed a fantastic leap and scored a surprising number of goals with his head. Capped 81 times by Portugal, Pinto spent the vast majority of his career in Portugal, winning trophies with Sporting, Benfica, and even one with Boa Vista. A 3-time Portuguese Primeira Liga Player of the Year, Pinto retired at Braga in 2008, and though he has worked for the Portuguese Football Federation in a couple of different management roles, I believe he is currently out of the sport. Cristiano Ronaldo, Juventus. Cristiano Ronaldo played for 71 minutes on the left wing in his final competitive game for Sporting Clube de Portugal, marking his 31st appearance during his debut campaign, in which he scored 5 goals and made 4 assists. Manchester United were already aware of Ronaldo at the time, but they hadn't yet made the decision to sign him. That came following a pre-season friendly at the inauguration of Sporting's new home ground in August 2003, after which the Manchester United players convinced Sir Alex that he had to sign Ronaldo. The Red Devils did so for £12.24 million, a hefty sum for an 18-year-old at that time, but it would prove to be one of the bargains of the century. Over the next few years, Ronaldo's drive and determination found an ideal home at Old Trafford, and he developed into one of the finest players on the planet. When he departed in 2009, he did so as the most expensive footballer of all time, and he reached yet new heights at the Santiago Bernabeu. Now aged 36, Ronaldo is currently approaching the end of his 3rd season at Juventus, where he has scored 95 goals in 123 games. That may be the 11 done and dusted, but I'll throw in 2 bonus inclusions just because I'm so bloody generous. If you'd like to hit the like button and subscribe to repay me for my endless generosity and never-ending stream of world-class content, I suspect you would be treated to decades of happiness by the gods. Probably. Oh, and I should say thank you all for the recent milestone of hitting 400,000 subscribers. It is much appreciated. My first bonus inclusion is the other Beto, so to speak. Full name Antonio Alberto Bastos Pimperel, our second Beto is likely to be someone you are familiar with, given that he has been a frequent inclusion in Portugal squads for more than a decade, typically called up as a backup to Rui Patricio. I mention Beto because he is one of few players from this squad who is still playing, having literally just signed for Portuguese Primeira Liga Minos Farense, and he is actually still a Portuguese international. Lastly, a quick word for Laszlo Belloni, who was Cristiano Ronaldo's first boss in senior football, having managed Sporting from 2001 to 2003. The experienced 68-year-old head coach, who won 102 caps for Romania back in the 70s and 80s, has since managed more than 10 different teams in 7 different countries, and he is currently managing Greek Super League side Panathinaikos. So there you have it. That was Cristiano Ronaldo's last 11 for Sporting Clube de Portugal in a competitive game, and an overview of every player's career. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully now I will be considered balanced on the Messi-Ronaldo video front. Thank you all as ever for watching. Give us a like if you enjoyed today's video, I really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and make sure that you are subscribed and have notifications turned on for HITC Sevens. You can also find me on either Twitter or Instagram, or both, via the username @HITC Sevens on both, should you wish to do so.